Hello chess friends, and welcome to another video on ABC Chess Analysis channel. Today I want to share with you one very interesting game played by Grandmaster Peter Svidler and the Grandmaster and the World Champion Magnus Carlsen. They played this game in the round 8 of the Grenke Chess Classic from 2019, and the game starts with e4 and c5. So that was the Sicilian. Svidler play knight f3, knight c6, and here Svidler go with the knight c3 instead of the d4, which is the main line. So Magnus play e5. After that, bishop to c4. Basically, idea for white is to control square d5 here, because there is no pawn on the c or e file that can kick out any piece from the d5 square. Bishop to e7, and then d3. We have d6 and knight d2. Maybe not so natural move for many beginners to play two times with the same piece in the opening, but the idea of the knight d2 is to transpose the knight from f3 over d2, f1, e3, and then d5, which is a very good square for the knight. So knight to f6, and then knight f1, knight d7 was played, and then immediately knight to d5, because that was a free square for a knight. Knight to b6, and then knight takes b6, a takes b6, and the c3. White trade the knights on the square b6 because he knows that he can transpose the other knight from the f1 over e3 to d5, and that knight looks very good. So black continued this game with the castle. After that we have knight to e3 and bishop to g5. Try to trade the knight, take the knight, and trade the bishop for that. So here we have a castle, and after that king goes to h8 and a3. Open some space for bishop to go back on a2 square if the opponent's knight from the c6 goes on the square a5 and attack the bishop. So here we have f5, and then knight takes f5, bishop takes c1 first, and then rook takes c1, and after bishop takes f5, he takes f5. It looks very natural that Magnus will take the pawn on the square f5 with the rook, but he recognized that it's a good moment to create a strong center, and he goes with the d5. So look at these 3 pawns here, they are very strong. So bishop goes back on a2. After that, rook takes f5, and queen goes to g4. Rook goes back to f6, and then f4. So white wants to start some counter-attack with the pawn and opening the f-file, but after e takes f4, it looks natural that the rook takes on f4, but that did not happen in the game, because Peter wants to go with the queen on the g5, attack the pawn on the d5, which looks much valuable than the pawn on the f-file. So Magnus accepts that, and he defends the pawn on f5 with the queen to f8, and then queen capture on the d5. So rook d8 attacks the queen and also make the pressure on the pawn on d3. So queen f3 defending the pawn on d3. Knight e5 attack the queen, queen e4, and once again he's attacking the pawn on d3 2 times with the knight and with the rook, but he decided not to capture that immediately. So first he goes with the knight on g4 that can be transposed on the square e3, where he can attacks the rook, attacks the pawn in front of the king, and that can be very dangerous for white. So rook ce1 was played, and after that knight e3 attacks the rook. So rook goes up to f2, and after that rook to e8 attacks the queen and force queen to go somewhere. So queen captured the pawn on the square b7, and after that Magnus decided to increase the pressure on the king side, and he goes with the g5. Tried to go with the g4 and then f3, so that can be very dangerous for white king. And here Peter play rook from f to e2, and yeah, that opens some chances for black. So he could play f3, that will attack the rook, and also attacks the pawn here, so he's not able to capture on the e3 because f2 it's a check and the rook is under attack. So if rook king goes to f1, then black can capture on the e1 and promote the queen, or if he goes on h1 it's mate in 1, or after that trading it's mate in 2. So yeah, that is not a good option for him. So after rook f to e2 in this position, he didn't play f3 immediately. He first go with the g4 and now tried to go f3, and when the rook goes back to f2, queen to h6, tried to go g3 and queen c7, rook from e to f8 was played, and after that white goes with h3, so g takes h3, and then he played g3, but after f takes g3, rook takes f6, it's forced mate, so he goes this way. h2 it's a check to king, and after that he played king to h1 in the corner, and yeah, after g2 that was a checkmate, and the game ends in this position. So yeah, that was the game. And so here we find a very nice attack by black. He was not interested so much in the material advantage. He found a way how to attack on the king side, and he realized that attack very quickly. I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time. Bye bye.